we're getting ready for Oktoberfest, and so we're going to cook up a little bit of schnitzel, but not just any schnitzel. We're going to cook up some Jaeger Schnitzel today, and it is one of my family's favorite, but anytime we have schnitzel, they're all happy. They're all in. So we have cooked schnitzel a couple of times. This one is a German dish, and it's Jaeger Schnitzel. Jaeger means hunter, so it's something you usually eat in the fall when hunting season is really big. So we do use the mushrooms, which is our big ingredient, and it is a very thick sauce. And the Jaeger Schnitzel is all about the Jaeger sauce, full of mushrooms and earthiness. That's what we're going to cook up. We're going to get it started. We do use mirepoix. I'm going to cut this up. And now if you're a non-mushroom eater, like I have some in my family, I'm sorry, you're just going to miss out because you will not be able to pick these mushrooms out of the sauce. So I'm just going with about 1/4 of an onion here. And these two we'll put back for the next dish. We're heading on to get our mirepoix chopped up. I'm going to throw this in the chopper. And I'm going to turn it on, and I want it finely minced. So I'm just going to turn this on high and let it go. And there we are. We're done. That's why I love this thing. Oh, so happy. Makes me so happy. So anyway, that's ready to go. Now I've got 2. Now you can cut this in half, but I always make extras. So I've got 2 cartons of white sliced button mushrooms. You can use the baby bellas if you want, or you can use, slice them yourself if you want. I find it easier just to use it this way. So you just need to stick with me because I'm going to show you some little tips along the way so we can get this dinner on. Now you can do this in any pot. This is a ceramic pot, stainless steel. You can do it in whatever you want. This was easy, and I grabbed it, and it's going to be deep enough for me to be able to have the gravy in here, because this is basically what we're making, gravy. And we're going to make it with butter. So that's about 2 tablespoons of butter. And I'm going to get it melted down there. And we're going to throw in our mushrooms. And we're going to sweat these mushrooms down, okay, so that they will lose all their water. And then once the water dissipates, then they're going to turn brown, and that's what we want. We want that real earthy, concentrated mushroom flavor. So we're just going to let these go. I'm going to just leave them here and let them go, and I'm going to go start cutting my pork loin while this is going. It should take about 2 minutes on these mushrooms. This is our pork loin, and this is a half pork loin, premium Aldi. I like their pork. I usually get it there, but it's a good price. Now, if I buy this already sliced up, I would pay a lot more for it. So this works out really well because then I can cut it to the thickness I want. Sometimes if you get the pork cutlets already cut, they're too thin, and by the time you bread them, there's not much left. I want some pork in my cutlets. But I'm going to cut this in half. I'm going to try to get at least 6, and then the other half I'm putting back in. It'll go back into the fridge for the next meal. So right now, that's what we got. Now I have 2 knives here, and you can see this is an important thing I want to show you, how thin and long they come to a point. This is a fillet knife that we use for when you're filleting fish, and this is a boning knife, same thing, but this one you can see is very flexible, so you can get around the fillet to get in there and take it out. This one is tougher, it doesn't bend. So this is the one I'm going to use to cut my fillets, and hopefully they're both really sharp. But you really want a sharp, pointy knife to do this with. So I'm going to open this in the sink, I'm going to rinse it a little bit, then I'm going to lay it up here on this paper towel. Oh my gosh, those mushrooms smell so good. cold water in my sink. Got my bleach water ready to go, so we're good. And this will be juicy, so we have to be careful with it. There we go. Okay. This goes in the trash. I don't need it. And we've got a little trim work we have to do on this. So I'm just rinsed it off. Now set it up here, and we're good to go. I want to show you on this pork loin that I don't want all this silver skin on here. So I'm going to just take my knife and I'm going to cut it off. So we're going to go just a quick and cut that down so I can get that big fat piece off of there. And so I'm holding on to this end, and I've got my knife not flat but kind of turned like this so I can kind of scrape it off. Whoops. And you can hold it with a paper towel if you want. Sometimes that works out pretty good too. And then I'm going to take it down this way a little bit and come straight out there. And that's all I want to do. And I'm not saving all of this. I'm going to throw it in the trash. So I have a little bit of the tenderloin over here that came off. There's a little bit of silver skin here. I might take that off. There we go. There we go. Just going to dry it up a little bit. There we are. Looks good to me. Put it over here. Now I'm going to want 6 cutlets out of this. And I'm going to want them at least a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch thick, because I'm going to pound them a little bit. And so they're going to spread out. Okay. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut it in half. It's about right there. Straight down. There we go. That over there. And here's my cutlets right here. You see that big part? And then I have all this extra too. So I'm going to go at least, well, I know that's 1 inch. So 1 finger. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to get 7 cutlets out of this. So there's 1. And you just go in and make sure your knife's sharp. And you're going to just cut straight down. Straight down. And there's 1. And we'll go to the next one. And I do try to keep them all about the same. But when I go to pound them, too, we can make sure we're keeping them all the same. 2. So I'm just going to cut it right down the middle. And hopefully we come out with 7. And then we're going to trim all this off so that it won't curl and they lay flat. Because if you try to cook with that on there, it's going to make it bowl, like turn into a bowl. I don't want that. There's that one. So I got my 6 cutlets, actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cutlets. Cost me about $4. Cut them myself. There you go. So easy to do. Save you some money. So if I had bought them already cut, I wouldn't have gotten them the thickness I wanted, and they would have been anywhere from $8 to $12, depending on where you get them at. So saves you a few bit of money, and you get what you wanted. All right, moving on. So now we're going to stretch out, just because I don't like to splatter. And when you pound these, you need to be on a solid, firm surface. So I like to put my saran on the bottom and on the top. You probably don't have to use it at all. It depends on what your surface is. So I'm going to have another piece. I'm going to go ahead and tear it off. I'm just going to hang it over here so it'll be ready to go.
What would we need the saran for?
I use the saran here to protect my counters and keep the juice from flying around. So when I'm pounding them, it just kind of helps keep everything contained and a little cleaner. And I still have to clean up after I'm done, but there we go. Now, you can see how thick these are. I don't want them to get very thin, but I do want to do a little tenderizing on them. Now, I have a heavy-duty mallet. This has got some weight to it. And one side you can see it's got the little pointy prongs on it, and the other side is flat. I'm going to use this one because I want to tenderize it. I want to just like tenderize it a little bit, but I use this one to make it spread out. So you're going to go down and out. And that's it. There we go. On, and look, the water that was in there is drying up, and they're starting to turn brown. So if you come in close, like see right there, you can see them, they're starting to turn brown. I'm going to go ahead and add my mirepoix in here, and it'll let it brown up too along with it, and they will continue to get brown and cook down. Now the carrot will give it some sweetness, the onion will give it its dark onion flavor. And then we have a little bit of celery in there as well. So all of that's going to continue to cook down. So we're going to just let that keep cooking while we start breading. Those look so good. We've got our breading station ready to go here. So we have our flour with our seasoning in it. I've got some eggs, and I have breadcrumbs. Now these are not panko. These are traditional breadcrumbs, and they are much finer than panko. So in the past, I have I think it was when we did the pork schnitzel in the beginning, we used the panko, which I love panko on my cutlets. Now, when we did the chicken parmesan cutlets, we used the panko with the parmesan in it. For the Jaeger Schnitzel, because it's all about the sauce, I want it to be crispy, but I also want it to be absorbent of the sauce. So, and I'm going to try a new technique, something I've never done before, so I'll tell you all about it and let you know. So the goal is here to end up with really crispy cutlets, right? That's what we're going for. So I'm going to here's my flour, and I just use my hands for this. You can use tongs if you want. You will get messy. It is messy. And since we're only doing 6, we're going to do it this way. If I was doing 12 or 15 of them, I literally do it on the counter where I stretch the saran wrap over the counter, and then we layer them up. And maybe someday we'll do a video on that. But so here's my eggs, and I'm going to put the eggs in here. So one of the things I was watching on, I don't know, one of the videos I was watching is, I think it was America's Test Kitchen or something, which I love to watch them. When they do their schnitzels, when she does her schnitzels, she adds a tablespoon of oil to the eggs, because she says when she does that, it helps the breadcrumbs stick and puff. And then you get a puffy, wavy crust. And I'm thinking, oh, that's great, because that wavy, puffy crust is going to hold the gravy better. So we're going to go for that. So I've got 1 tablespoon of just regular old canola oil in here. And then we're going to whisk this up. Now remember, I'm dealing with raw eggs and meat, so I have to be real careful with touching things and all that other good stuff. So I'm not really going to do a whole lot till I get these done. But this. So There we are. That looks pretty good to me. Now, I have never just used the egg whites. I've always kept my yolks when I'm doing my breading, for whatever it is. So, of course, we're going to go through, we're going to dredge here, and my flour is seasoned, but the egg and the breadcrumbs are not. Now, this is right next to the meat, so it will, there we go, there's one, into here. That makes our paste. So, and then we go here. And one of the things I like to do is grab my breadcrumbs, and they're going to be, and then I go over the top. Pat, flip, pat again, and pat. And there we are. One down. So we're ready for them, which will probably be a good 30-40 minutes. Our mirepoix and our mushrooms look really, really good. And they are coming on. So now I'm going to take some of my leftover flour that I was using for my pork. I'm going to throw about 2 to 3 tablespoons of flour in here and start frying it off. I can add some more oil or butter to the bottom of it, which I think I will because it does look kind of dry. And here we go. So now we're up to about 3 tablespoons of butter, which is okay by me. Julia would have been so proud. So here's 1, 2, and I'm going to put in 3. We can always add more later if we need to. And there we go, to make our roux. Now we're going to start frying it off. And this needs to fry good 3 or 4 minutes just to get all the pastiness off of it. And I love this big spatula. It works great on these non-stick ceramic. Alrighty. Now we're going to add in our broth, which is our beef broth. And just a splash, a good splash of our Worcestershire. Maybe a little salt and pepper, and we're going to let it simmer down. So I got 4 cups here of unsalted beef broth, and this is store-bought because I haven't made beef broth in a while. I'm going to put a good splash in here. So let's say 1, 2, 3, just for that extra umami darkness. We're going to add a little bit of salt and some fresh ground pepper. I'm going to turn this up a little bit and let it come to a simmer. So get my sauce whisk out. This is a sauce whisk because you can set it on the bottom and swirl it, and it really helps get the clumps out if you got any clumps. And see, my mushrooms didn't even get stuck in there. Put the lid on it and turn it up just a tad, and we're going to get a simmer on it. And then if I need to, I'm going to turn it back down. So there we go. We're going to give that about 15 minutes. While that's going on, I'm going to set up my frying station. Be right back. So we're back, and our Jäger sauce is ready. It is looking so yummy. We've got some potatoes and green beans on the side as well. But one way I'm ready to fry these schnitzels. One way that I do test my oil to see if it is ready is I take a piece of the breading and I drop it in there, and if it floats up to the top, which it's doing, it's bubbling, it is ready. And as soon as I put it in there, now this, I only have maybe a half an inch of oil. I don't want to deep fry these. I want them to go in, lay down, fry one side about 1 minute to 2 minutes, and then the next one. So see, it's not overflowing the top. And I don't want to overcrowd my pan, so 3 is going to be plenty in here. And you need to remember clockwise. So this one went in first, then that one, then that one. So you can remember how to get them going. My flame is a double flame, and it is on a medium high. If I didn't have a double flame, I'd probably have it on almost high, but you really want to watch it so you don't overheat it, because once they start browning, they go very quickly. That's better. I'm going to turn that one over. Nope. So you can see how quickly these fry up. And I think the oil does work. Look at how that's getting wavy and puffy in there. See, this one is getting all wavy and puffy in there too. We are here. We're ready to eat. I'm ready to set the table. So we've got our cutlets, and I want you to see how good and crispy and bumpy they are. They have little puffy spots on. Oh my gosh, these are so crispy. And then we've got our green beans, some new potatoes, and of course, the Jäger sauce. Look at those mushrooms. And that is so rich. It's gonna be so good. I can't wait to dive in. And I think I will right now. I am going to cut me a piece and get me a little bit. We're gonna taste this up. So you see, I've got a nice piece of cutlet, light breading, very crisp, nice. It's just by itself, no gravy or anything. That was so good. Perfect, crispy, so crispy. Oh my gosh, that's so good. And the tenderloin, it's the perfect thickness. So I'm very happy with all of that. I think they will be too, which is my family. And I'm gonna get me some mushrooms right here. And I'm gonna douse this up. Oh my gosh.